All right, talking from the BBC offices in West London, Hardeep Giani, the director of the best film at the May 2013 Wildsound Film Festival, Rosemary in Time. How's it going, Hardeep?
It's going great, Matthew. How are you?
All right, let's get right to it. You saw the feedback video. It was kind of polarizing. You got some people who loved it. You got some people who kind of like not so loved it. What was your first instincts of watching the Toronto audience talk about your film?
The first instinct is, as a director, you're glad that people just like it. You know, even if it's because no film, no matter what it is, or whether it's regarded as the best film of all time, for every film ever made, there's always people who like it and there's always people who hate it. You just hope that the majority of people who watch your film like it. And I was unsure when making it whether they would like it. And the whole point was with Rosemary in Time was to hopefully make people engage into the story, which they would, rather than lots of other short films which will have it'll be like a poem or just have one idea of an emotion or something. Mm-hmm. The idea was to get people engaged in the story which they cared about and, they would really get involved in. But until you get that audience, this is what's good about your festival. It gives good feedback that you can see the response and hear the responses rather than just wait for that dreaded moment when you're in the cinema yourself and then, you have to think, are people liking it or not? And the thing is, the good thing is what you have to do as a director, because unless you are totally deluded, which I hope I'm not, because I've been working in this industry for long enough, is you want people as well to criticise your film. Because otherwise, without that criticism, you never improve. Now, some of that criticism can be, founded, and some of it can be unfounded from probably not as an educated viewpoint as a filmmaker, but you have to listen to it anyway, because that's the only way you learn and hopefully grow to make better films, I think.
Was there any, one or two comments that kind of stuck out from the moderation? Anybody's comments that kind of stood out for you? No,
there were some comments which I just like the fact that I noticed that lots of the women seem to like the film.
Yeah.
Which I kind of think they could relate to some of the emotions within it about love lost and, trying to regain it. And then, I remember one woman saying that you can't fall in love with the same person again and again. And, there was things like that. But there were some things as well about, the negative stuff which I looked at and I was thinking, were they right? Maybe they were right. And it made me think again of how I would have done it, somebody said, the time travel effect was, just a little bit hammy, etc. I was thinking, what do they mean by that? Because what could I have done to make it better? I didn't know exactly what they meant, but it made me think again of what could I have done to make that better.
Well, there's certain films that they're kind of like gadget films where you just have to suspend disbelief, and if you're not that person to suspend disbelief, then you're not going to like the film no matter what, right?
No, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. But as a director, as I said, I always try and listen to feedback and try and think again of, if that was true, how could I improve it to make me, hopefully a better filmmaker? I mean, there were some comments as well. There was one guy talking about the continuity. If you've made enough films, you do realise that actually every film does have continuity problems. And I think the person who was talking to them just said, if you're involved in the story, you won't notice those.
Yeah.
But if you aren't, then of course you will notice them. And I've noticed them on films that I haven't been involved with. So I could totally see where the guy was coming from. But every film has them. So, unfortunately I didn't hit the button to make him emotionally involved. It was nice that other people were.
Of course, yeah. And like I said, it won Best Film at the festival. So obviously most people love this film.
And it's really nice because, I know that the film festival has got a good reputation. People in the UK have heard of it. So I've talked to other people who know about the festival. So, it's nice to, get that best film from a festival that we know about and that we respect. So it's nice.
Oh, well, that makes me feel good. So a 36-minute film is,
that's another big worry that we had, Matthew. Because, when you make a 36-minute film, you kind of you're a bit scared thinking, God, every manual I've ever read, every article I've ever read says, don't make a 36-minute film. You're insane. So, we did make a 36-minute film, and that's why I was a bit worried about how it would be received. I didn't think it would get that shown in that many festivals, to be honest with you.
Well, as a programmer, you can program you can program 4 short 10-minute films or your film. You know what I mean? So your film's got to be really good to get it programmed.
That was one of my fears, and I understand that, but I've been kind of proved wrong, but in a good way, because as it stands now, Rosemary and Thyme has been official selection in 36 film festivals.
Well, congratulations.
Worldwide, and we've won, at Wildsound, but we won Best Short at Patterson Falls as well. We won a jury prize for excellence at the Boston Science Fiction Film Festival. We've won Best Screenplay at the Treasure Coast Film Festival. We've won Best Supporting Actress and everything else. So the awards are slowly coming in, so it's kind of like paying off us a little bit. I mean, I don't think the film's perfect by any means, but sometimes that's my director's head thinking, because anything I make as a director, and so lots of directors are the same as this, once you finish, you can see the mistakes in your film. But as a producer, you have to sell that, and then once you sell it and people like it, it makes you feel a lot better. You have to sell your film, because otherwise, it's pointless making a film if you're going to put it away in the cupboard and not show anyone.
Yeah.
That's what most directors want to do. We do it as an exercise, and we want to put it away and not show anybody. But because I was producing it as well, which is a headache, and I don't want to do it again. But you force yourself to get that film out there and show it to people, which is what I've been trying to do.
Okay, so talk to me about Zach Lee, who has played Barney, the lead character. He is in every single scene, and you know that the film is success or failure is basically on this guy. Either the audience is going to root for him, or they're not going to believe him. So
yeah, I don't think the things with Zach is because I think some people get a little bit confused about, and that's probably my fault as a filmmaker as well, about how Barney was as a character. Barney is not your typical person hero that you'd want to
not at all
associate with it. He's been wandering and meandering ever since he lost Rose in his life, and he's a person who, quite rightly, because somebody said everything seems to happen to Barney, but that, to be honest, that's what, in a way, that's what he had. You go through your life and everything seems to happen. Things happen to you, and you take it and you take it and you take it for a long time until suddenly something makes you get off your backside and do something. And in Barney's case, things were happening to him until that little bit of luck whereby he can go back in time, and then he suddenly takes action when he realises it's that day, and then suddenly you see Barney go for it, in a sense. But everything in life, like lots of things, we will do things that hit us. We won't actually take as much action as we need to in life. That's what Barney's been doing. He's been meandering. He's not a get-up-and-go guy. Otherwise, he would have left Sandra a long, long time ago.
Sure.
He just put up with it.
He's your average guy, and usually, especially in a 36-minute short, you don't, your main character is not an average guy, generally speaking. But this performance, I was just curious about how, did you shoot in continuity? How did, working with Zach, did he kind of?
No, I'll tell you what we did. Because we put out adverts here, and we had for all the characters, we had over 800 applications for people to work on this film, and to work on expenses only, because people just like the idea of it completely. We interviewed, I think, about 30, auditioned about 30 Barneys, and we chose that because he's kind of got that, that average-looking face, but he seemed to get the character more than others, and he kind of underplayed it a little bit, which is what I wanted him to do. But whether it's successful or not, what I did was I rehearsed with the actors. Lots of the times you don't get to rehearse, but I spent 3 days rehearsing the scenes with them in a room and talking through what the actors might be feeling at a certain period of time, so they could develop. So once they were on set, they were comfortable with things, and we could just basically tweak the scenes a little bit. We didn't have to do things from scratch, which has really helped, I thought. But I would have liked a bit more time, to be honest with you. But budgets are very limited, and this was a very limited budget.
Sure. So tell us about the ending, because the ending's kind of open-ended in a way, or maybe I misread it after I've watched it a couple times.
No, it is open-ended.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
What I didn't want to do is have a total happy ending, but what I wanted to show is that there's a glimmer of hope. When one door closes in life, like Rose dies. I mean, the only thing that Barney ever wanted was, if you think about from a structural point of view of a story, Barney's want isn't to save Rose, because that was impossible to him until, this thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
You could never save Rose. Barney's want was always the regret that he never had a life with Rose. And so, in some terms, from a normal structural point of view, once he saves Rose's life, you kind of think that's the end of the film, in a way. But what I wanted to do was resolve Barney's want a little bit and give him a life with Rose, with a family and everything else. But unfortunately, life has a way of not dealing you a good hand of cards, and Rose dies. But what I wanted to show is as one door closes, Mary, who comes to the shop where it all started with Barney, opens that door, and you don't know what life's going to hand you now. So the whole idea of the film is life already planned? Kismet, which is an Indian phrase.
Sure.
But once that door opens and you just see them having a conversation, in a weird way, that's thrown out of the window. You don't know what life has planned for you anymore. But he's got another chance of happiness, which sometimes we think is the end for all of us. But actually, a little bit of time and maybe the door opens in life, which gives you that second chance for happiness.
So what's up for you next?
What's next is I've just done a little 3-minuter for Virgin short. So the Television Centre, which was the heart of the BBC here, closed, and we had some free runners running through it. So I've made a very short film of just free runners jumping over buildings and things.
Okay.
And I've got another short which is written called Harry Christina, which hopefully will be making by the end of the summer. And then the idea is to actually, hopefully, get money from different sources to make a feature film either next year or the year after. I have to be honest, Matthew, the reason I'm not diving into making a feature film is because I don't think I'm good enough to make one yet. Because you can always get the funding, and you can always go and make a feature film and try your best. But in the way I think is, I don't really want to make one until I know it's the best I can make at that time.
I understand that 100%, because you only have, it's got to be great, and sometimes you only have one shot to do it, and sometimes people do it too soon.
You might only have one shot to do it.
Yeah.
I think by learning from my mistakes in making some of these shorts, that I could hopefully have a better chance of making a good one. That's all. So that's why I'm trying to make a few shorts and get them under my belt, and I realise that they aren't perfect. And, if you do get some success at some, you can't let it go to your head. You've got to listen to the negative stuff as well. And then hopefully, the more you make, you might have a good chance of making a feature, and that's what I want to do. I want to make a feature. And I've got two stories in mind, and I'm unsure of which way to go, with one and what to develop yet.
I think you followed us for 36 minutes in a short film, and that's almost even harder than doing a short, a feature film, because as an audience member, you're prepared to watch a feature. Sometimes the short, you're just prepared to watch a short, and you have to get really into your film, and you succeeded. So kudos on that.
Well, thank you, Matthew. I do know what you mean, because when I bet my fear is whenever I see the length of a short film, when I see ones that are over 15 minutes, I think, oh God,
yeah,
I really want to invest 15 minutes of this. For some reason, your mind just goes insane. You don't want to see anything over 10 minutes because you think, I don't want to invest that much time. But you're right. When you sit down and watch a feature, you have a different mindset. You're totally open.
You're emotionally ready. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you got it, man. I think you're ready. So, kudos on the Rosemary Time. I'm glad we showcased it, and
I'm glad. Thank you so much for Wildsound. You know what? When I do my other shorts, I'll definitely apply and send them to you.
100%. Yeah, and congratulations and good luck. And I'm sure you got not just one feature, but I'm sure you got about 10, 15 feature films ahead of you.
Well, I hope so, Matthew. Maybe we can work together one day. Who knows?
Who knows? Because what you said about like that, I agree with you 100% about you got to do it and it's got to be great. So I think you're ready.
Exactly. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you.